Good morning, Kuhner country. Okay, my friends, this is a story I've been wanting to do now for days. Didn't get a chance to, obviously, because of the resumption of the war with Iran. But we've got to ask ourselves, what are we doing to ourselves, to our children, to our citizens, to our country? We have to truly ask ourselves this question. Because what we are now experiencing over the last couple of years is an explosion in illegal aliens who have been given commercial driver's licenses, CDLs as they're called, to drive 18-wheelers, semi-trucks, you name it. These are massive trucks, as one senator described them, almost like an 80,000-pound missile rumbling down the highway and driven by illegals who have no business being on our roads, frankly, no business being in our country, who can't read signs, who don't understand basic driving laws in this country, and it has been fatality after fatality after fatality. And here is now the absolute latest. And it's both a national story. I'm sure you've heard about it. Everybody's heard about it. It's also a local story. But the shameless media, the lying, corrupt, fake news media in Massachusetts refuses to cover it. Because if they do, it will be the end of Governor Maura Healey. So here is exactly now what took place. On July 1st, so this was last week, just before the July 4th weekend, a 44-year-old Pennsylvania state trooper, Michael Pahira Jr., was conducting a safety inspection of an 18-wheeler on I-81 in Pennsylvania. He had just recently moved back to live with his parents. The reason? His mom is dying of cancer. And so Michael Pahira, who loved both his mother and of course loves his father, said, I want to be there for my mom in her darkest hour. And so he went out of his way to move in so he could take care of his mother. And so he took on also a different job, which was to inspect commercial vehicles, okay? Trucks, semis, 18-wheelers. And so there he was conducting a routine safety inspection of an 18-wheeler on Interstate 81. Now, I want to stress to you, this is very important. This inspection was done at 7:15 in the morning. It wasn't dark. It was light. There was no rain. There was no bad weather. It was a clear, sunny day. It wasn't on a curve. It was literally on a straight patch of highway. The truck and the state and Trooper Pahira's patrol car were on the proper side of the road where you can conduct an inspection. So, there was nothing obstructing anyone's view. There was nothing going on that could lead someone to make a mistake. There was nothing that was done that was inappropriate by either the state trooper or by the driver of that 18-wheeler. And then out of the blue, as he's conducting his inspection, he was struck by another 18-wheeler. In fact, this 18-wheeler veered off the road, smashed into State Trooper Michael Pahira's car, his patrol car, swiped it, and then smashed into the back of the 18-wheeler that State Trooper Michael Pahira was inspecting. At that point, he was at the front of that 18-wheeler. He was crushed as the wheeler was smashed and propelled forward. And he was crushed under the front bumper. The 18-wheeler then caught fire. The driver of the 18-wheeler that was hit from the back was rushed to the hospital. He is now in very serious condition. He is fighting for his very life. A nearby construction crew ran to the burning 18-wheeler. They tried to pull Michael Pahira out from underneath the bumper. They finally managed after a struggle. An ambulance arrived on the scene. They drove him to the nearest hospital as quickly as they could. The medical team did everything in their power to try to save him. But alas, he died. He's dead. Everybody who knew him, I want to stress this, you should see the local newspaper reports on him, loved him. Salt of the earth, pillar of the community, what a police officer should be, what a son should be, what an uncle should be. That's all people say. His parents, including his cancer-stricken mother, devastated. His sister, brother-in-law, nieces are inconsolable. His colleagues at work, all of them, to a man and a woman, say the one person who didn't deserve this was State Trooper Michael Pahira. And I just want to say this. What did he do that was so wrong? What was his crime? To die like this, in such a horrific way. Doing his job, doing his duty, conducting a routine inspection of these big trucks, these 18-wheelers that carry so much important cargo and ship so many important things across our country that make our country function and work. And to die like this? It's unspeakable. It's just unspeakable. The driver of the truck that ran into the patrol car and hit the 18-wheeler that State Trooper Michael Pahira was inspecting is a 33-year-old illegal alien. His name is Michael Bon from Haiti. In French, it's pronounced Bon. Michael Bon. Michael Bon. We don't know why he veered off the road. He was hurt in the accident, but he'll be fine. He's fine. Pahira is dead, but he's fine. This is the part now that is very tough to stomach. As the Association of Pennsylvania State Troopers said, as the Department of Homeland Security has said, as people close to President Trump have said, this was 100% preventable. Preventable. Unnecessary. Should never have happened. 100%. Not 99%. 100%. Michael Bon was let in by Joe Biden from Haiti. In fact, he was flown in. He was flown into the United States. He then applied for temporary protected status, TPS. He was rejected. Let me stress this to you. He was rejected. So he was in our country completely illegally, having been rejected for temporary protected status, and then was told that he had to leave our country. An immigration judge said, "Get out, vamos." But he settled in the sanctuary state of Massachusetts, in Brockton. For those of you listening around the country, it's outside of Boston. And he applied for a commercial driver's license, a CDL. A man who can't speak English, a man who doesn't know our road signs, a man who has no skill or qualifications to be a freaking truck driver whatsoever, who shouldn't even be in this country, never mind driving on our roads. But under Maura Healey and her sanctuary policies, they gave Michael Bond his CDL. Let me just make a couple more points, and then I want to open it up to the great audience of Kuhner Country. 617-266-6868. First of all, this was not a one-off. I mean, it's a horrible, despicable story by itself. To me, is damning, completely damning. But it's, as people who've reported on this story have said, this is not just in the last couple of months or the last year, whether it's in Montana, whether it's in Florida, whether it's in California, in this case, Pennsylvania, it doesn't matter. There have been incidents after incidents, horror after horror, of illegal aliens who have no business being in our country. Again, they can't speak English. Many of them are illiterate. They can't read, never mind read English. They can't read road signage. They don't know the laws of the road or the rules of the road. And you're putting them, I mean, these are massive semi-trucks, 18-wheelers. You're putting them as one, again, I don't want to repeat myself, but as a senator said, that's potentially an 80,000-pound missile that's flying down the highway at 60, 70, 75, 80 miles an hour. And, they miss, or they veer, or they fall asleep at the wheel, or they get their signs mixed up, or they go on the opposite side of the road, which has happened. When they hit you, you're dead. And families have been killed. Innocent drivers have been killed. Children have been killed. It's turning into a massacre. Dozens and dozens and dozens of Americans have been killed just in the last year alone from illegal aliens who have been given CDLs, commercial driver's licenses, and they have no business driving, but never mind driving a truck, a commercial truck. Now, what turns my stomach is not only does my heart go out to State Trooper Michael Pahira Jr. and, of course, his grieving family, but all of this, as I said, need not have happened. It was forget 100, it was 1,000% preventable. Why was Michael Bond allowed to come into America in the first place? That was number one under Joe Biden. Flown in, by the way, okay, in the dark of night. And then he applies for temporary protected status. He is rejected. Rejected. So now he has no immigration status whatsoever. He's then told by a judge, get out, bye, deport him. But because he's living in a sanctuary state like Massachusetts, in Brockton, sanctuary city, he's able to apply and receive a commercial driver's license, a CDL, issued by the Commonwealth of Massachusetts under Maura Healey, because her official policy is that Massachusetts is a sanctuary state and all illegals are welcome and that every illegal alien is entitled to a driver's license. And so they figured, what the hell? Let's give Michael Bond, this Haitian illegal, let's give him a commercial driver's license. What could go wrong? The guy can't speak English. The guy can't read English. He doesn't know the rules of our road. but let's have him drive an 18-wheel truck. No, hey, what could go wrong? Now, in any normal society, in any normal country, even 20 years ago, okay, in the United States, she's politically finished. It's a scandal of the highest proportions. Okay? Channel 4, Channel 5, 7, 10, 25, WGBH, you could just everybody, NPR, everybody. How could we have given out a CDL to someone who has no business being in our country? Never mind somebody who can't read or speak English and has no idea what the actual rules or the laws of the road are. And she's handing them out like they're candy? And now you've got people dying, including a state trooper, in one of the most grotesque, horrific, horrendous ways imaginable? Politically, she'd be finished. Finished. No, not in the People's Republic of Massachusetts. No, 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 no. Michael Bond, he's the victim. Don't blame all illegals. Just because one trooper is killed doesn't mean illegals can't drive on the road or don't know how to drive a semi-truck. She has blood on her hands. Michael Bond is the one who's ultimately responsible, yes. But basically, who put the gun in his hand? In other words, who put the CDL in his hand? She did. And her minions. Under her policy. The question now is it time for a national law to prevent illegal aliens from being able to receive CDLs, commercial driver's licenses? I say it's way past overdue. Okay, I want to go right to the phone lines. Let me ask you, number one, should commercial driver's licenses be issued to illegal aliens? The fact that Massachusetts under Healy did so to a Haitian illegal, his name is Michael Bond, B-O-N, has now resulted in the death of Pennsylvania State Trooper Michael Pahira, P-A-H-I-R-A Jr., Michael Pahira Jr. You can read all about it. The story is everywhere. It is a huge national story. To me, the answer is clearly no. I think it's a form of suicide. They are putting our citizens, our people, at risk. And Maura Healey claimed, now it's a slightly separate issue, because I want to focus on CDLs for now, truck drivers just for now. But Maura Healey campaigned on the issue that if you give driver's licenses to illegals, I'm not just talking commercial, normal, regular drive, no, to drive a car, this would make the roads safer. It has not. In fact, it's the opposite. The more driver's licenses are issued to illegals, the more unsafe the roads become. And don't even take my word for it. Just ask Trooper Pahira's family. And so, this is now the question. Do you feel safe on the road? I don't. And do you think, no, I mean, to me, we all drive. You see a big truck rumbling down the highway, and I love truck drivers. I think they're incredible drivers. They truly are professional drivers. But that's a big load they're carrying. That's a big 18-wheeler. My instinct is always just go around them because they're so freaking big. If anything happens, they can crush you and you're dead in a second. I want the best driver. I want the most qualified driver. I want the best trained driver. I want a professional driver. And yes, I want a citizen who can read and understand English and who knows the laws of the road or the rules of the road like the back of his or her hand. I don't want some third world person, and they've been coming, by the way, I'm just referring now to the last year, the incidents that have happened, the tragic accidents. One was from Haiti. The other one was from Sri Lanka. The other one was from India. The other one was from, I mean, even on the, here, take this. This one with State Trooper Pahira. Witnesses said when they spoke to Michael Bond after that horrific accident, they were talking to him in English. He couldn't understand what they were saying. And you put him behind that deadly weapon? Because that's what an 18-wheeler is. That's why you want a professional, an American, a citizen. That's why you want them driving it. And let me just say one last thing. Who made Maura Healey God? And it's a Gavin Newsom God. They're handing out CDLs in California, like I said, like they're candy. Who made these sanctuary state governors? Pritzker's another one in Illinois. Or Hochul in New York. Who made them God? Because when you put illegal aliens in driving with CDLs, you're playing Russian roulette with our lives on the road. I'm telling you, by the grace of God, it wasn't you or me. But one day it may. Or God forbid, it could be our children or our grandchildren. 617-266-6868. I can't think of anything that is so more irresponsible, reckless, selfish, inconsiderate, honestly stupid, defying all common sense and reason and logic. And she thinks she's a hero. Healey's virtue signaling, and, she's a woman of compassion, and now they're going to bury Michael Pahira. What a waste. Seriously, what a waste. 617-266-6868. Agree, disagree. Mark in Connecticut. Thanks for holding, Mark, and welcome.
My brother from a different mother.
Mark,
I've been out here,
buddy, how are you, my friend?
I'm very good. I've been driving trucks since 1981. I'm very professional. I take it very, very seriously. I know all the rules to the road, as do millions of other men out here and women out here. And I've run into these people out here many times. At the stop I'm at now, I'm not going to tell you where it is. I tried to give this guy directions to the other side of the railroad tracks. He couldn't speak English, and I went off on him. I said, "What the F are you doing out here?" Blah, blah, blah. And stuff and everything. Finally, a guy came, grabbed me and stuff and everything, and I was irate. And he never found his way to the other side. All he do is go up on the road, over the bridge, and down to the other side and stuff, and we never saw him again. We don't know where he ended up. You see these people out there in flip-flops and, shorts and this. You're at work. You take this seriously. This is a very, very dangerous profession. I mean, I don't have to tell anybody. Everybody knows. What we've seen out here in the last, for me, 47 years, has deteriorated so rapidly, but never as quickly as, the Biden flooding with illegal aliens. All these governors and the people who give these people licenses, because it says right in the manuals and stuff, you have to read and speak English. They should all be arrested, all of them. Anybody who gives these people, the companies that hire them should be arrested because they're getting cheap labor out of it and stuff, and they're driving the wages down for all of us and stuff. This is what they're doing. This is why Healey's doing it. Because it depresses the wages and keeps the prices down and stuff. Because, as soon as the fuel goes up, I'm charging more money. Of course, you guys are going to pay for my fuel That's what I was saying. Well, you hire these illegals out there, they work for a song and a dance, almost literally, and it's killing the industry. They're unsafe out there. I've seen these guys. All of a sudden, I'll be going 60, 70 miles an hour at night down the highway. And this guy will cut across 3 lanes in a tractor trailer. Now you expect it from cars, but you don't expect it from quote professionals. And it's making us all look bad. And luckily, there is a light at the end of the tunnel, because at the chicken houses, what do you call them, way stations, Trump's administration is now, can you speak English? Do you speak? And if you don't, you get out of that truck and stuff. So it is starting to happen now. Trump is finally, is doing something about it. Nobody else would. So there is a light at the end of the tunnel. And I know I went a little long on this. Sorry, man. But this
Mark,
obviously
fascinating. Mark, please, it's like an inside expose. Please, the last thing you should do is apologize. Mark, I've got to ask you this. Apparently, I've been reading, doing research for on this topic, that one of the reasons is that these illegals, they call them almost like CDL mills, where it's like basically 24 hours crash training, from these big companies, exactly what you said, to save money, hire cheap labor, and they just give them like a crash course, like less than 24 hours. And then boom, there's your CDL. Is that part of the problem as well?
Oh, yeah. I won't name the companies out here on a national radio show like this, but we all know who the companies are and stuff. And you stay the hell away from those people, because they don't know what they get 2 weeks and you're in a tractor trailer. Like I said, I've been 47 years out here, and I'm still learning stuff out here. It's a profession. It's an ever-changing, half second by half second. You just can't stick somebody in a tractor trailer. It's not driving a car.
Oh, of course
it's
not.
It's so different. And so,
you guys, listen, what you guys do takes such skill and ability and patience and knowledge and experience. And I've always said this, truckers are the backbone of this country. Everything moves on the roads. 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay, another day, another illegal alien on the road, this time with CDL, commercial driver's license, and another American dies. This time, State Trooper Michael Pahira in Pennsylvania. So my question to you, should illegal aliens be banned, prevented from getting a commercial driver's license? I say yes. What say you? And do you feel safe on the roads knowing that illegals are given driver's licenses, including driving tractor trailers, 18-wheelers, semi-trucks, you name it? 617-266-6868. Dave in Rhode Island. Thanks for holding, Dave, and welcome.
Good morning, Jeff. How are you today?
I'm very good. How are you, Dave?
Not too bad. One thing I've heard this story, and I'm really happy that you brought it up. But like any other driver will tell you, in Massachusetts, you got to go through a school. That's a lengthy process. It costs a lot, thousands of dollars, and then you have a road test given by the state police in a location, including in a parking lot with cones and stuff to back up, just to give you a brief idea. And then there's a road test. Not to mention, there's a lot of literature that one needs to study too. And like I said, it's thousands of dollars. And if the governor is handing these licenses out, so these people don't even have to pay that, I think every truck driver — I've had my license for over 30 years. I think every truck driver who recently went through a school like New England Tractor Trailer and paid $5,000 to $10,000, the state should reimburse them.
Oh, no question.
Starters.
Oh, no question.
Secondly,
Dave, I promise I'll give you all the time in the world, but I'm not trying to pour gasoline on the fire, but I just want everyone to know how unfair this is. You're a second-class citizen. As a truck driver, you're being treated as a second-class citizen. I'm sure when you passed your test, you had to be able to read English and speak English. Michael Bond, as an example, doesn't read English, doesn't speak English. After he killed Pahira, and the witnesses were there, and he's got his head in his hands, and the cop said he didn't understand a word we were saying. The witnesses said everybody's talking to him in English. He's looking around like, what are you talking? Well, I don't know. But what? Slow down. What? So how does he pass a test? And there's no way in hell this guy had $5,000-$10,000 on him to pay to go to school. That I can tell you, Dave. So no, they want to give illegals CDLs. The big trucking companies are behind it because they can get them for a song. They don't want to pay you, Dave, the wage of an American citizen. So they get an illegal, they cut every corner possible, because these illegals will drive for half, if not a third, of what they're paying you. And especially now with gas being so high, they're looking now to save every freaking penny. And that's an open secret now in the trucking industry. I just, from everything I've read, it's driver after driver after driver. Quote, their words, not mine. These trucking companies are, quote unquote, effing crazy. They're putting people on the road that have no business being on the road, i.e. these illegals. But anyway, please, Dave, keep going.
Other thing that you could say, I don't know who he was driving for, if it was a national fleet or some local company, or if he just even bought and owned his own truck, but a good GPS or a good tablet that you do all your ELD work with will give you updates on the road. It'll tell you, for instance, mine tells me there is a emergency vehicle up ahead. It gives me, warning of that. It'll tell you that. And any truck driver knows that. For instance, I'm sure that the trooper had lights on. He was visible. You move over to the other lane. That's just common sense, and it's a law. Apparently, this jabroni didn't understand that.
Well, that's what I mean. That's the kind of people we have on the road. Dave, I got to ask you this, and forgive my ignorance, because I'm not a professional truck driver, like you and Mark in Connecticut. I'm just an ordinary guy who drives a car, and I get the finger a lot. So I don't know if that means I'm a bad driver or a good driver in Massachusetts. But anyway, let that go. For him to veer off the road that badly at 7:15 a.m., it was completely visible. It was sunny, no rain, no dark clouds, no fog, no nothing. You're right. The patrol car had the lights on. They were in the proper lane where you do a commercial vehicle inspection. It was like it was a straight patch of road. It wasn't like some curve or whatever. You say, well, maybe he went too fast and he didn't see what was on the other side. It was straight. What do you think caused him to veer? Did he fall asleep at the wheel? Was he so reckless that he was, reaching over for a drink or something and wasn't even looking at the road, and the wheel he lost control of the wheel? What would cause someone to veer like that and hit a patrol car and the other 18-wheelers so hard that both 18-wheelers caught on fire? What's your theory?
Possibly that he had been driving too long. Obviously, if he doesn't understand English and he doesn't really have a clue to what he's doing, he's probably been driving for, you can only drive 11 hours and legally. And maybe he doesn't pay attention to stuff like that. Maybe he was tired. Maybe he was reaching for his cell phone. It could be numerous things. Distraction in the cab, which is something that you really have to not do. You got to keep your eyes on the road, like you said, and you said previously. You got 80, even 100,000 pounds going down the highway at 65 miles an hour.
Incredible. Dave, thank you again so much for your call, and please stay safe. Okay, I love you guys in a non-sexual way. I really do love truckers. I mean, they're the backbone of our country. 617-266-6868 is the number. Eddie in Quincy. Thanks for holding, Eddie, and welcome.
Good morning, Jeff. Thanks for having me on.
My pleasure,
It's been
Eddie.
a while for me, Jeff. I got my license back in 1988, but I've been retired for several years now. But you had to take a learner's permit test. It's like getting a regular license. I don't know if it's still the same. But I went in and they asked me what language would you like it in. And, of course, I said English. And I said, just out of curiosity, how many languages do you have? There were 37 languages back then, Jeff. That's to take your learner's permit now. And I don't know when they test them for English, but I could have taken it in Farsi.
I'm sorry, you could have taken it in what?
Farsi, Iranian.
In Iranian, in Farsi. Oh, okay. That's unbelievable. Honestly, I would think, okay, first of all, it should only be English. Okay, don't get me wrong. But Eddie, I figure if you're going to go a la carte, okay, Spanish, let me see, French, I guess maybe Chinese, right? Maybe Arabic, okay? That's it. 37. I mean, this is unbelievable. I mean, you could have taken it in Farsi. I mean, he could have, soon it's going to be like these special dialects from Africa or Pakistan or Afghanistan. You know what I mean? Like, really, I mean, it's just, Eddie, do you think we need a law passed to force these sanctuary states not to give out CDLs to illegals and to put them under much more scrutiny and to really raise quality standards, to not just give these, CDLs to these illegals? To me, that you have to do the test in English. You have to be able to read English. You have to be able to speak English. Eddie, am I crazy? I mean, to me, this just sounds like common sense.
They get involved. You're supposed to have a medical card. And, if you get something, the doctor finds something, you're supposed to tell your employer. And if you get a ticket, an over-the-road ticket, you're supposed to tell your employer. Now, I don't know if they're getting lax on it. These governors are giving these things out like candy, and it seems like they are. They need to be arrested. It's not the first thing I think they should be arrested for in the last 8 or 10 years. But, I mean, there's more cars on the road. I've noticed just in the last 8 or 10 years how many more vehicles there are on the road, too.
Well, that's because so many more illegals were allowed in. I mean, I'm just here. There's a big story. What was it? It was in Bloomberg, and then it just spread everywhere. I mean, Wall Street Journal. I could go on. That Biden allowed in so many millions, tens of millions of illegals that it drove the cost of housing up 30%. Like, people are wondering, why is housing becoming suddenly so expensive? Well, a big reason, not the only, but a big reason, is there are so many more people that Biden flooded into our country who are illegals. So rents have gone way up, and even the cost of homes have gone way up. So, if you've got that many tens and tens of millions of illegals pouring in, and then you're giving them all driver's licenses, which is what most states do now, well, that's why the roads, to your point, Eddie, are so much more congested and packed with cars. I've noticed the same thing. The last 10 years, there's way more cars on the road than there were 10 years ago. And so many of them are, I drive around Boston quite a bit because that's just, where I work. There's a lot of illegals on the road. And Eddie, and many of them don't have insurance. We have to, citizens like you and me, we're mandated, we're required to have insurance to drive a car. Not these illegals. They drive, but there's no insurance. So we give them basically a license for free. They register them to vote. That's the scam. And whether they know how to drive or not, they don't care. They just issue them the driver's license. And many of them don't even have insurance. So I can't tell you how many horror stories I've heard from people. Jeff, I got into an accident. The other driver was an illegal. They don't have insurance. And the police come and they go, well, what can you do? The person doesn't have insurance. So you know who ends up eating the cost? You get it. You guessed it. The American, the poor citizen. He has to eat the cost. And all of us. That's why we pay higher insurance rates. That's why the costs of our insurance go up. Because we're paying for all these illegals who have no insurance. Eddie, final word to you, my friend.
Well, you remember, I mean, this was Charlie Baker. Remember they found all those violations, road violations in the room on Quincy here?
Yes.
He was doing it. I mean, it was a little scandal. This is so wide open for a good investigative reporter, but, we don't have them anymore.
Because it's all about covering up for the regime, for the party, for the party. And so what we have are hacks, not journalists. Eddie, thank you so much for that call. I appreciate it. He's completely right. Remember, it was after a Ukrainian. Remember, there was a Ukrainian, I think came in this country illegally. Don't quote me on that. But he was someone who was a drug addict. Okay, well-known drug addict, somehow got a CDL and was driving a truck high as a kite at an absurd speed. And that's how I got to know Manny Ribeiro. And, and other former Marines. They had their own little motorcycle group, and they were on the road. This was up in New Hampshire. And this guy came around the corner flying with a tractor trailer. And the load that he was carrying, it just kind of started to slide onto oncoming traffic as he was driving so fast and so recklessly. And of course, these poor Marines were in motorcycles in formation. So they were like sitting ducks. Boom, 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 boom. And, dead people, people maimed. I mean, it was just a horror show. And it turned out this guy should never have been on the road. He had multiple violations. He never should have had a CDL. But instead of doing anything to stop him, it was all, remember that office in Quincy? It was just sitting in some box. All this information was just sitting in some box. Nobody acted on it. And then they found there were hundreds of boxes, almost identical, where you had illegal aliens or drivers who should have their CDLs revoked. And nothing happened. Nobody got punished. Nobody went to jail. 7 Marines dead. 7 Marines dead. Former Marines dead. Through no fault of their own. Nothing happened to anybody. And I'll bet you the best steak at the best steakhouse. Don't take me up on it because I'm telling you, you're gonna pay for a big juicy steak. I bet you they're still sitting in those boxes. All that information years later about people whose CDLs should be revoked. They don't care. And ultimately, they don't care because the moonbats in this state don't care. You think Bill in Sudbury cares? You think Chris in Gloucester cares? They will protect Maura Healey, the Democratic Party, and illegal aliens to the hilt. I'm telling you, even if it means suicide, they will protect these illegals. There is something about the Democratic Party, I don't know what it is, but they love these illegals so much, even if it means they die on the road, but don't touch these illegals. 617-266-6868. Johnny in Foxborough. Thanks for holding, Johnny, and welcome.
Hey, good morning, Jeff.
Johnny, how are you, my friend?
Doing okay. I've been waiting for this segment since February. But, Jeff, first of all, can I just mention one thing?
Yes.
I'd like to give my total respect to Victor from Georgetown, the Marine Cobra crew chief.
Yes.
I really admire that guy. I just lost a buddy who was a crew chief in the Army during Vietnam War, and
I'm
he
sorry
told me
to hear
some
that.
stories. What a very stressful job that was on being a crew chief.
I'm very sorry to hear that, Johnny.
Quiet, just kept to himself, and just a pure good guy. And he told me some things, and I was thinking of Victor right away. And Victor, if you're listening, buddy, total 110,000% respect to you, Victor.
Johnny, my friend, what do you make of these illegal aliens getting commercial driver's licenses?
Jeff, I'm lucky I'm talking to you today because I called you back in February when my son-in-law, I said, got whacked, and I misspoke. He got broadsided, as they say, jackknifed by an 18-wheeler. And, again, he couldn't speak English, no insurance, and they let him go. They let him go, and my son-in-law, his truck brand new truck got totaled. The insurance company was still holding him, he just ran out of his insurance coverage because he's trying to put pennies together to survive, him, his wife, and his daughter. And the VA denied him a little bit extra dough each month. They denied him. So he was on his way for a blood test for his brain cancer, and he gets broadsided after running the red light, on 106, running the red light, hit him broadside, totaled the truck, almost killed him, just minding his business to go get his blood work done, Jeff. And you know what? I didn't find out till like a little bit later after it was all investigated and everything. My family didn't want to get me riled up because I would have left the town I was working in. I would have shot right out there. And I don't know what I would have done to that truck driver, Jeff. And now I hear that state troop. I see these state troopers on the highway now, the Mass State Police. They're caught when they got an 18-wheel. They got like a truck division now. They check out all the trucks for imperfections. And I'm looking at these troopers, and every second their life is on the line, not knowing what's coming their way. Are they in a coma or something?
Well, Johnny, I got to tell you, I look at a lot of these state troopers as well, and I'm like, I wouldn't want their job. Because you're right. I look at them when they're inspecting vehicles, and the illegals now that are driving these massive trucks, it's a hazard to the road. I'm telling you, you're completely right. And Americans are getting killed, maimed, crippled, damaged every single day because of it. Every single day. Every single day. And, Johnny, I'm with you. And look, I think this is such a winning issue for Republicans in this state. I would be all over this issue if I were them. So many other issues. But this is just, one of many. But you see, that's the problem with Republicans. They don't fight. They don't fight. You don't fight, you can't win. I'm sorry, it's just that simple in life. 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay, I want to ask you, should commercial driver's licenses be issued to illegal aliens? Rocco in New Hampshire. Thanks for holding. Forgive me, Rocky. My bad. Rocky in New Hampshire. Thanks for holding, Rocky, and welcome.
Welcome. Hey, I was an instructor at North Andover, Haverhill, and up until a year ago when Trump had placed that must be able to speak English, we had a lot of students come through and could barely speak English. And after he had signed that bill, we were able to say, no, we can't understand you. I'm not taking you on the road. So not to stick up for a driving school, but with Massachusetts, the state police, truck team, I commend all those guys for having to go through all that. But when you take them out on the road and when they go to do the test, they could pass the test on for what little they have to do today compared to yesteryear on being able to do the free trip, the brake bleed down, and what have you. But today, a year ago, when they were still basically, we had to let them go through regardless. Now, the troopers, if they give them, if they can't understand you, they can say the test is over. I can't understand you. How are you supposed to understand me? I took a student out once, and we were coming to a stop sign. I had to pull the instructor brake. And I said, you got to stop at the stop signs. Oh, I have to stop at stop signs? And I just looked at him. I told him to get over in the passenger seat, and I drove back.
Rocky, hold on. I just want to get this. So you were obviously, looking at a driver, and you're in the passenger side with the emergency brake on. He's driving. He's approaching a stop sign. He doesn't stop or refuses to stop. You hit your passenger brake, and you said, it's a stop sign. You have to stop at a stop sign. And he says to you, oh, I have to stop at a stop sign? Is that literally what he said to you, Rocky?
Yep. I threw one guy out of the truck because I don't know how far. I don't know how far he walked back, or if he got to call somebody to come get him. But I threw him right out of the truck. I said, "Nope, no, you ain't riding in my truck." But when they go to the test, they may pass the test and everything, but I'm not sticking up for the driving schools. But when the trooper passes them, because hey, they passed, but the company that hires them is what takes them the rest of the way. The driving schools are giving them the basics of what you need to know, especially in the classroom. You got 10 weeks of classroom before you even get to see the inside of the truck. And then they're out there doing maneuvers, and they got to do 2 weeks of straight back, 2 weeks of parallel park, 2 weeks of alley dock, just to be able to even get close to the test. Some of the schools have just pushed them right through. The one particular I was working for actually was just, he should be good for the road. You take him out 2 or 3 times. Oh, he's good to test. Well, if they pass the test by luck, let's say, they take the test and pass. But when it comes to the company that hires them, but what I've been noticing is one place that I work at, I'm a yard spotter. But one place, these drivers come in and they have a road trainer and a student with them. They're trying to back up and everything. Well, what I've been noticing is the trainer will say, oh, here, just let me do it. Now I'll get it in. And they're not given the adequate training before they.
I hear. So basically, the road trainer, whatever, backs up the truck for the student. So let me do it for you, and they say, okay, well now he's fine, he's good to go. When in fact he's not good to go. Rocky, before I let you go, I've got to ask you. This guy Michael Bond, this Haitian, he was an illegal alien, and he applied for TPS. Not to go over the story again, but he was rejected for temporary protected status. So he had no immigration status. The judge said he's got to be deported. How does the Commonwealth of Massachusetts issue a commercial driver's license to an illegal who has no standing to be in Massachusetts? How does that happen?
Yeah, that part, it's up to the governor, same way as California. That governor out there, he's worthless. Your governor in Massachusetts is worthless when it comes to that. Why are you letting anybody in there? When it comes just let them drive, I could probably bet you he was on his cell phone typing, and he looked up. There may be a truck in front of him, and when the other truck probably swerved over and he was typing, he looked up and he was right there, and he smucked him.
Interesting. Rocky, again, dynamite information. I mean, dynamite. So now you see how low the standards are for these illegal aliens. I mean, I'm supposed to stop at a stop sign? Yeah. Oh, man. Mike, you got to drive back to New Hampshire today. After today's show, I don't know, man. Stay on the right lane and just and then pray. That's all. One Our Father, one Hail Mary, one after another. Please, God. Not today, please. Ay. Okay, more with your calls. 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay, flooded with texts. The text line 70470. 70470. I can't tell you how many of you, including many, Jeff, I'm a certified professional commercial driver. I can't tell you how many times I've seen or witnessed or been told about illegal alien truck drivers with CDLs caught texting and driving. Ay. Many are saying Rocky's probably right. Rocky from New Hampshire. The reason why State Trooper Pahira was probably, killed by that illegal alien driver, they go, Jeff, I've seen it so often I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, he was probably on his cell phone texting. Ay. Okay, just very quick reset because we have a lot of people coming in at 7:30. Very quick, because I want to go to the phones. It's a huge story. It's all over the country. Frankly, I would have done it, to be frank, to be brutally honest, like I'm in the confessional, as I like to say, days ago. But we had the war with Iran resume. So that was a little bit more important in terms of breaking news. But this is a huge story, both local and national. State Trooper Mike Pahira, P-A-H-I-R-A, was doing a routine inspection of a commercial truck. That was basically part of his job. And on July 1st at 7:15 a.m. on a straight stretch of highway, the I-81 in Pennsylvania, a perfectly clear day. It was sunny. It was bright. So there was no bad weather. An illegal alien from Haiti who had a commercial driver's license issued by Massachusetts under Governor Healy was driving down at a very high speed, veered off the road unexpectedly, slammed into State Trooper Pahira's patrol car, which had his lights on flashing, and then hit the back of the 18-wheeler that State Trooper Pahira was inspecting. The poor man was at the front of that 18-wheeler. He was crushed under the front bumper. The 18-wheeler went up in flames. So did the 18-wheeler driven by the Haitian illegal. A construction crew rushed to try to save State Trooper Pahira. They finally managed to pull him out. An ambulance drove him to the hospital, but it was too late. State Trooper Pahira is now dead. The Haitian illegal, Michael Bon, B-O-N, has now been put into custody. He's been arrested. He has been arrested for reckless driving, involuntary manslaughter, and homicide with the vehicle, vehicular homicide. And the question is, why was he given a CDL? And there are other truck drivers now, illegals, who've been given CDLs in Florida, in California, in Montana, that have killed dozens and dozens of people on the road. What is going on? And so the Kuhner Country poll question of the day, sponsored by Mario's. Mario's Quality Roofing, Siding, and Windows. Should states like Massachusetts and California, that issue CDLs, commercial driver's licenses, to illegal immigrants lose all federal funding? A, yes. B, no. I am a yes all the way on this one. All the way. But that's me. I want to hear from you. You can vote on our webpage, wrko.com/Kuhner, wrko.com/Kuhner, Kuhn as in national ER. You can also vote via X. Again, I was active on X last night. My handle there, all one word, at the Kuhner Report, at the Kuhner Report, Kuhner. Okay, very quickly, this is from 603, and to me, this is the text. And I please, all of you, you need to hear this. Jeff, I've been a professional commercial tractor trailer driver for over 15 years now. And when I got my license, it was my understanding that illegal aliens could not qualify to hold a CDL under any circumstances. As I understood it, the only foreigners who could qualify to obtain a CDL were legal immigrants who held a green card or were on a legal worker's permit. Even though these commercial licenses are issued by each of the 50 states, they still fall under Federal Department of Transportation guidelines and are regulated by a federal agency called the FMCSA, Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration. Now, I'll be honest with you, that was my understanding as well. I'm like, since when did we start giving CDLs to illegals? Like, when the hell did this happen? 603 continues. I've seen some cases of fraud caught on camera in California where they had a paid insider in the DMV who would issue the license to an unqualified person. But other than that, I don't know how these illegals are being issued licenses because there are federal regulations prohibiting it. Why isn't the media all over? I don't mean the national media, because Fox has covered it, Newsmax has covered it, other major newspapers have covered it. Nationally, it's a big story. I'm talking the local media. How the hell was this CDL issued? How many more CDLs have been issued to illegals? Because I guarantee you this is not the only one. And how could you do this? How can you do this to the citizens of Massachusetts and the citizens of our country? Because of what they have done, because of their recklessness, their irresponsibility, their fanatical obsession with defending illegal aliens. A state trooper is now dead. I said it before, I'll say it again. Governor Healy and the Democrats have blood on their hands. 617-266-6868. And honestly, I think that's exactly why the media won't touch this story here in Mass with a 10-foot pole. So like on so many other issues, it's cover it up, cover it up, cover it up. Victor in Maryland. Thanks for holding, Victor. And as always, welcome.
America's talk show host.
Victor, my friend, how are you, buddy?
I am doing okay. I am really looking forward to in using their nicknames. When I call in, my handle is Blind Man. And I have a lot to contribute to the show. I have actually become friends with at least 7 or 8 of the truckers personally. I have conversations with them over the weekend. One trucker, known as Brain Dead, made me an honorary trucker, and he was nice enough to give me 2 Kennedy $half for my birthday.
Oh, that's nice. That's really nice. Victor, buddy, what do you make of this? Should we be giving CDLs to illegals? And why? Why would Democrats do that? Do you have a theory?
My theory is they want their votes when it comes to the midterms. If we do something nice for you, would you vote for me? You know, that's the problem. And I do hear the truckers on this show constantly complaining about states like California giving out CDLs to people who definitely do not deserve it. And one of my other truckers that I'm very familiar with personally, Eskimo Mom.
Do me a favor, Victor. We're up against it. I want you to finish your point. All right. So Victor says he's friends with 7-8 truck drivers. 617-266-6868. Okay, let's go right back to Victor in Maryland. Victor, please pick up where you left off.
Okay, I just wanted to, and it's really fun hearing the truckers calling in with their nicknames.
Victor, you mentioned before that many of your friends are truck drivers, close friends. They're saying that CDLs, commercial driver's licenses, are being issued to illegal aliens, people who have no business, being in our country and certainly driving a tractor trailer, a semi-truck, whatever. Why do you think people like Gavin Newsom or Governor Healy or Pritzker in Illinois or Hochul in New York, why would they so flagrantly and deliberately endanger our safety and security on the roads? Why would they do that? I mean, they're playing with fire. And this poor state trooper, Michael Pahira, got burned. He got killed. And dozens of others have been killed in the last year alone. Why would they do that to us? What's your theory?
The problem is the Democrats don't care about us. They only care about themselves. And if somebody gets hurt or killed, they don't care. They don't even give lip service to the victim of the people that these illegal aliens kill.
No, I think you're dead on. Victor, I think you're not 100. I think you're 1,000% correct. I think they're trying to court the illegal aliens, obviously. And you're right. They just don't care. I mean, it's so obvious now. They don't care about America or American citizens. And all they care about now is their voting bloc, and that's illegals. Thank you so much for that call, Victor. As always, thank you, my friend. Mark in Tewksbury. Thanks for holding, Mark, and welcome.
Hi, Jeff.
Hi, Mark.
There's a lot to unpack here, and what I wanted to do was just let you know that if someone at the FMCSA is actually issuing, execution of these permits or driver's license, that person needs to be rooted out. And guess who has control of that? Duffy is the secretary of DOT, and Trump is the president of the United States. They should go in and rat out these people who are giving these away. And they're probably all getting paid. You were asking me earlier, asking the audience, why are these people doing this? It's because they're getting kickbacks, just like in the old 30 movies in the 20s and the 40s. The criminal element is getting kickbacks from or giving out money to the people who are doing favors for them. Now, in the state of Massachusetts, I think to bring this to a head, even if we lose as, DOT, I think this is an interstate crime that just got committed. Vehicle homicide.
Yes.
So it's crossed state lines, and it's a person who has a Massachusetts license. So that person got a license from Massachusetts. So the whole chain associated with this is accomplices. It's simple as that. They have no problem putting police officers into these accomplice situations. If there's one bad police officer, but there's 5 good ones hanging around, they all are associated with the same thing. So as far as I'm concerned, I don't care who's up the chain. It goes all the way to Healy. I thought you said at the beginning of the week she released 7,000. Well, she signed an order.
No, Mamdani. That wasn't Healy. It was Mamdani in New York. 7,000 criminal illegal aliens he released over the July 4th weekend. That was Mamdani. These are people accused of murder, rape, burglary, carjackings, robberies, you name it. Molesting children. And ICE has 7,000 detainers. And he said, I'm not going to hand them over to ICE. I'm just going to let them let them back onto the streets. So, but it wasn't Healy. That was Mamdani. But please keep going, Mark.
Well, Mamdani is an accomplice to every single thing that those 7,000 people do from the point they were released. So if one of them, the murderer, commits another murder, which they will, because that's why they got put in prison in the first place. When they commit that murder, that whole chain of people are accomplices. It's simple as that. It's time to bring these people just to court, even if the Justice Department loses because they're going to some asinine court in the local district. At least it'll get some publicity. And it's time to show all this stuff, even if it's not a win-win situation for some reason, the Justice Department thinks they need to win everything. They don't. They just need to get this information out. And as far as I'm concerned, Mamdani's getting paid by all 7,000 people, as far as I'm concerned. He's getting money from...
Well, Mark, just to bounce off of what you're saying, look, I don't want to bore the audience and read the full statement, but trust me when you can look it up yourself, everybody can. Let me just summarize it for you very quick. The Department of Homeland Security, and trust me, this comes to your point, Mark, they issued a blistering statement after the death of State Trooper, Pennsylvania State Trooper Michael Pahira. And they said, look, this was a crime that was 100% preventable, and they're right. They blamed Maura Healey specifically in their statement, saying that she had no business, or her government had no business, issuing CDLs to a Haitian illegal alien who was rejected for temporary protected status and was ordered to be deported. But instead, because they don't honor ICE detainers in Massachusetts for the most part, he was living in Brockton, sanctuary city, living in Massachusetts, sanctuary state, and so they gave him a CDL. And so, according to the Department of Homeland Security, they said it's the sanctuary state policies of Massachusetts that directly contributed to the death of the state trooper Michael Pahira. So, to your point, Mark, so it goes all the way to Healy. Now, what I don't understand, and I like Sean Duffy, I love Trump, please don't mistake me, but I'm reading the press statement, and I'm like, well, why don't you then arrest her ass? I'm sorry, she's an accomplice. Just the way you talked about Mamdani. When you give a CDL to an illegal alien, which is against federal law, and that illegal alien recklessly, irresponsibly, blatantly murders or kills through their reckless driving, a police officer, a state trooper, I'm sorry, you're almost as guilty as the... Look, you didn't pull the trigger, as they say, but you put the gun in his hand. You put the CDL in his hand. You put him behind that wheel. And then now this state trooper is dead. And dozens of other Americans are dead. And I'm just talking about CDLs and illegal aliens. Let's not even go to illegal aliens given driver's licenses. Okay, forget even CDLs. That number is much bigger. Well, I'm sorry. You have to be held accountable for your actions. This is the part, Mark, that stuns me. And I want to give you the final word on this. It's almost like they're sociopaths. The complete lack of remorse, the complete lack of conscience by Maura Healey, by everybody at the, under her that was involved in issuing the CDL, or by Pritzker in Illinois, or by Newsom in California. They don't care. If this was me, I couldn't sleep at night. I empowered someone that led to the death of an innocent man? I couldn't breathe. I choked to death on my guilt. I swear to you. And the other part, this is what's really scary. If you remember, there was a horrific death. It was an accident. Again, an illegal alien, I believe from India. Don't quote me on that, but I believe the illegal was from India. He was given a CDL in California, drove a tractor trailer, but he drove all the way to Florida. So the accident takes place in Florida, but the CDL was issued in California. And he did an illegal U-turn. I forget where in Florida. It was maybe 4 months ago. But he did it so recklessly, with such speed, and he lost control of his tractor trailer, that he smashed a poor woman with her children in the car. It was an SUV. Just smashed it to pieces. Children were killed. Parents were killed. And what witnesses said and the police said was most shocking, and they showed that the body cam footage, is that the illegal behind the wheel didn't blink an eye. You've got a dead woman, you've got dead kids, through your fault, 1,000% your fault. It was like, I don't know how to explain this to you. It was like, so when am I going to have my sandwich? Is it time for my coffee break yet? No remorse, no emotion, no guilt, none. And that's what Trump means when he says they're not sending us their best. So, and this guy, you got to see this Michael Bond, this Haitian illegal. There's no emotion. Okay, state trooper's dead, man. What do you want from me? You can just tell, that's his attitude. Hey, look, I asked for a CDL. You idiots gave me a CDL. I drove the truck. He's dead. How is that my problem? So what I'm saying is, we're being invaded, not just by people who shouldn't be here, but many of them they're sociopaths. They're people with no conscience, no morality. They come from societies where it's dog eat dog, law of the jungle. Kill or be killed. They don't know our language. They don't read English. They don't write English. They don't speak English. They don't care for this country they're here to take. They don't know what a stop sign means. They don't know what a red light means, a green light. They know nothing. And they're on the road. They drive like crazy because they're paid by the load. And they work for much lower wages than ordinary drivers, American drivers. And I'm telling you, you get killed and they don't care. They don't even blink an eye. Now, why would we allow people like that into our country? And why, my God, would we put them behind? Look, this is an 80, 90, 100,000 pound missile. That's why it takes tremendous skill and integrity and ability to drive one of these tractor trailers, because it comes with an immense responsibility. And we're just going to put these people on the road? Mark, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, there are just some things, to me, you just don't do. And if there was one honest reporter, that's how I know the media in this state is so corrupt. If there was one honest reporter, I know she's committed many scandals and abuses of power, but this one so cries out for justice. One honest reporter could bury Maura Healey. Just, that's it. This case alone. And she's finished. She's finished. Nothing. Nothing. In fact, their job is to defend her. They're defending her. If they even mention the story, they're defending her. Okay, it's just past 8 o'clock, Friday. You know what that means. Caller of the week, Kuhner's call log.
It's time for Kuhner's Call Log, where we showcase our favorite caller from the week.
I can hear you. Can you hear me? Thanks for holding, Tanya.
Peace by strength was our motto for this presidency. And we just got done celebrating a 250-year anniversary of this country. 4 months ago, we paraded all sorts of our military from all different years down Washington. But I didn't think this applied to negotiating with terrorists. And I disagreed from the get-go when we started all this trying to negotiate with them. And then we sprinkled bombs on their nuclear facilities, but we didn't finish it. And I feel like this is turning into the 20-year war that we had with Afghanistan minus the boots on the ground. And now we're at the point where in the last 7 days, we watched a 6-day funeral with hundreds of thousands of people chanting death to America. Are we not seeing that? Are we blind? Are we deaf to that? And now they're saying that our president is on their kill list. That is a direct threat to the United States. So what are we doing? What are we doing at this point? Because I feel if we keep negotiating, you're just giving them time to have another 9/11. So we need to take these people out and end it.
And next week, it could be you on Kuhner's Call Log.
Please, don't be a stranger. Call again. Okay, my friends, again, I want to thank all the callers. You really do take this show to a different level. And as I always say, best audience in the business, best callers in the business. 617-266-6868. Diane in Everett. Thanks for holding, Diane, and welcome.
Since day one, I am still fighting the good fight. And I want to tell you, this could have all been prevented. Do you remember the petition we had so that illegal aliens would not get driver's license? I worked out there day and night getting signatures, and it was overturned by our wonderful legislature. Well, I want to tell you a story, Jeff, if you'll give me 1 minute. I went to a senior citizen dinner, and I told all my friends about my petition and what happened to it. And they said, oh, come on, you're kidding me. I said, no, and I'm going to prove it. My legislator walked in, and he came over to our table, and I said to him, excuse me, why did you override our petition? And he said, you don't understand. And I put my finger up in his face, and I said, don't you ever say I don't understand. I worked out there in the rain, the heat. I sweated for days to get this petition, and you overturned it. Would you tell our people here why? You don't understand. These people have to get to work. They have to drive their cars. They have to take their children to school. And I said, wait a minute, whoa, these people don't even belong here. I said, we pay your salary. They don't. By now I'm bright red. Everybody at the table's going crazy watching. And he said, well, I've got to go. I've got other tables to see. I won't say his name unless you want me to, but it's a true story, Jeff.
Oh, please. No, Diane, please say his name, please.
They gave you your bulldozer.
Okay.
And all my...
All right, keep going, Diane. A phone connection, Mike? All right, Diane, please, we're going to try to reconnect with you, okay? So there's some kind of an issue with your phone, so we're going to try to reconnect. But no, you're right. Look, that was the original sin, was giving out driver's licenses to illegals. And we warned everybody. We warned them. All you're doing is going to make the roads not more safe, less safe. You're going to see more accidents. You're going to see more people killed on the road or maimed or injured. And eventually you're going to see driver's licenses then being given to truck drivers, illegal alien truck drivers. And that's exactly what happened. That's exactly what happened. And now, I mean, good luck. When you're out on that road, by the way, I've got a story for you. You want to talk about a log on the fire? You've got to wait till the next segment. I'm telling you, you got to hear this. You've got to hear it. But first, let's go to Stan in Florida. Thanks for holding, Stan, and welcome.
Hey, thanks for taking my call, Jeff. Listen, got some good news for you. First off, my brother was over the road, big rigs, tractor trailers, for 15 years now. He's been teaching as a tractor trailer driving instructor for Career Tech in Lakeland, Florida, for a bunch of years. And we get some good news here. The DOT and the FMCSA is a division of the DOT. The states have got their own units for cops that cover the commercial area, like Massachusetts. I was in Massachusetts for most of my life. I moved down here after retiring in 2015. The state police have got 48 specialized units. One is the commercial vehicle safety enforcement, and it's called CVAS or something like that. But anyway, long story short is that we got people out on the road, DOT cops as well as state cops, pulling trucks over, approaching tractor trailer drivers in the weigh station yards and asking them questions to see if they speak English. A lot of truck drivers down here, I feel sorry for the people up in Massachusetts because there's a lot of corruption up there. A lot of the drivers are not people that are going into the schools to get licenses, illegal aliens. They're no longer being allowed to sign up.
Well, I know things in red states are much better. There's no question. But, blue states like California, Massachusetts. Okay, let me ask all of you. Please don't look it up. Don't Google it or go on DuckDuckGo or whatever. Let me just ask all of you, wherever you are. Which city do you believe has the worst drivers in America? Worst drivers. In other words, the most accident prone, the most collision prone, the drivers that have the most accidents. What would you say? LA? Number one in the country. Would you say what? New York? New York City? Boston. That's right. Boston. So listen now to this. Now, I'm not talking CDLs. I'm just throwing another quick log on the fire. These are just, ordinary, I'm talking driver's licenses. Allstate issued its latest report. And according to Allstate, they say the city with the number one, the most accidents, the most collision-prone drivers in the country is Boston. In fact, Boston drivers are so bad that they commit more accidents. They are 189% above the national average. 189% above the national average. That's how many freaking accidents there are in Boston and the greater Boston area. So when you're driving and you're saying, man, Boston drivers are bad. They're inconsiderate, they're rude, they're reckless, they're irresponsible. Frankly, I think some of them are crazy, but let that go. By the way, I almost got hit yesterday. Just out of the blue. Out of the blue. I'm in the middle lane, and this person is in the right lane, and just no signal, just cut me off. Literally cut me off. Had I not slammed on the brakes, bang, he would have hit me. And I do a little bit of the honk, like, buddy, what's wrong with you? What do you think he did? Rolls down his window and gives me the middle finger. He's in front of me now, and he's giving me like the back of the fist, like with the finger up, the bird. I'm like, this is unbelievable. You almost hit me. You almost caused an accident. And you're giving me the middle finger? I'm like, that's a Boston driver, okay? Number one in the country. Highest accident rate. Worst drivers in the country. But hold on now. It doesn't end with Boston. Springfield, Massachusetts. Worcester, Massachusetts. Providence, Rhode Island. I know it's a different state, but, they're right up there, part of New England. They're right on the Massachusetts line. Those other three cities are also in the top 10. Top 10 of all cities in the United States that have the most collisions and the highest rate of accidents. And so you have to ask yourself, why? What's the common theme? Why? What is it? Is it the water? What's going on in Massachusetts? Boston, number one, and Springfield, Worcester in the top 10. Well, to me, it's very obvious. It's so obvious. It's as plain as one's nose. Massachusetts, sanctuary state. Boston, sanctuary city. Worcester, sanctuary city. Springfield, sanctuary city. Providence, Rhode Island, sanctuary city. And in particular, what is it that Massachusetts is especially proud of? Every illegal alien can get a driver's license. No problemo. In fact, Maura Healey, as I said, campaigned on this issue. And according to her, this was her prediction. This was her vow. And the Democrats on Beacon Hill in the state legislature said, no. Diane in Everett's point about how we were putting up signatures, getting signatures. We don't want driver's licenses to go to illegals. What did they say? If we give illegals driver's licenses, accidents will go down, collisions will go down, deaths on the road will go down. It's going to make the road so much safer because now they have an actual driver's license. It's done literally the exact opposite. It's done the exact opposite. We have the most dangerous roads in the country. The most unsafe roads in the country. The most accidents and collisions in the country. So, let me ask you. Have you been hit or gotten into an accident with an illegal alien? Have you encountered an illegal alien in an accident where they have no insurance? Because this is very common across the country and especially here in Mass, but also in many blue states. And should we be giving driver's licenses to illegals? I say absolutely not. A, they're here illegally, so they shouldn't get any kind of benefits that a citizen or a legal resident should get. Rick in Taunton. Thanks for holding, Rick, and welcome.
Good morning, Jeff. I hope this show is going to be the catalyst to the people in charge to finally be held accountable. I've been waiting for this opportunity for several years. I had a CDL license for 16 years, and I won't go into detail on the many hoops that I had to jump through to not only get it, but to maintain it. And mysteriously, it was taken away, and I suspect it was given to an illegal.
Wow. Rick, I'm just curious, what makes you say that? I mean, if you don't mind me asking.
Is you have to take a medical physical, a DOT physical, and you have to be self-certified, which means you have to fill out all this paperwork and sign by the doctors, submit your records. Well, I submitted mine 2 months early because I was going to have 44 doses of radiation. So in anticipation of being under the weather, I completed it early, and, I completed my radiation and everything, expected to go back to work, and suddenly, we never received your paperwork. And this is about the same time that, they were handing out CDL licenses to illegals.
Incredible. Incredible. So, Rick, what happened? They didn't renew your CDL?
Oh, no. They said, no, it's too late. I didn't even have an opportunity to, there was nothing I could do. Simply gone after 16 years.
There was no appeal process? There was no way you could appeal it or ask them to maybe change their mind or to review or anything like that?
Hey, they didn't afford me that opportunity. Had they given me that opportunity, I would have done whatever necessary because, as you probably know, they're very difficult to get in the first place. And, in my case, I had to be fingerprinted. I had to take hazmat tests, which hazmat tests are very difficult to pass even when you speak and understand English. So that alone is criminal for illegals to be driving, especially possessing a hazmat license.
Rick, I've got to ask you, why do you think this state is so determined to take away a CDL from a law-abiding American citizen, and not only a law-abiding American citizen? Look, I mean, you drove commercial trucks for 16 years. Obviously, you got a lot of experience. You know how to do the job. It's a hard job. You're a professional. You've done it for 16 years. You're a veteran. You figure that's exactly the kind of person we want on the road, driving these huge tractor trailers. So why would they want to take it away from someone like you who's clearly very qualified to do this and has proven you can do it for many years and give it to an illegal alien? What do you think is driving this?
We all know why. It's all about the vote. And incidentally, I was, your last point about almost being hit, I was almost hit in a head-on collision by clearly an illegal that had no idea about any road signs. And when the cop came, he told me straight out, we are told, do not arrest these people unless they're driving under the influence. Now, this is from a state trooper's own mouth.
So no matter how reckless they drive, how irresponsible, how much they endanger people's lives or cause accidents or cause collisions, no matter what, don't arrest them unless they're clearly drunk or under the influence, correct?
That is correct, sir, from the state trooper's mouth.
Yeah, from the horse's mouth, the proverbial horse's mouth, as they say. Rick, I mean, I believe you 1,000% because I've heard these same horror stories from police officers as well and from drivers who've been involved in accidents. It's disgusting. It really is disgusting. Rick, I'm sorry. I don't want to keep people say, well, Jeff, why do you keep asking the same question? Because I just can't wrap my mind around this. You know, Bill in Sudbury drives on the same roads that you and I do. Chris in Gloucester, all these moonbats that live in this state, like what, they don't value their life? I mean, do they want to be on they want to be on a road with people who blow stop signs and blow red lights and are flying, going down the wrong way against traffic? Like, Rick, I got to ask you, why do the Moonbats and the Democrats, I know why the leadership does it. You're right, to pander to the illegals. It's all about the votes. I got it. But I'm talking about your ordinary rank and file Democrat who's got to work, go to work, drive, go shopping, whatever. Why are they willing to put their lives at risk? What's your theory on that, Rick?
Well, I have this conversation with many people, and I tell them to listen to your show in the morning.
So you're saying, Jeff, you tell me. Rick, great call. Honestly, great call. Rick, thank you so much for that call. And I feel very sorry for him. I mean, this is so unfair. CDL, 16 years. Clearly a really experienced, professional, really good driver. And they take it away from him and they give it to an illegal alien. I mean, it's incredible. 617-266-6868. But let me throw this log on the fire. Okay, 2 logs, if you don't mind. 2 quick logs. Number 1, why aren't liberals outraged by this? I mean, I understand for the leadership, again, the votes. I get that, okay? But again, what, do they want to get hit by illegals? Do they want to get killed in a car crash? Do they want to experience what we all experience? Where they're, as I said, they go through red lights, they go through stop signs, they're literally driving down the wrong way. I mean, that to me is a very harrowing experience. Like, don't they want to keep these clearly incompetent, dangerous drivers off the road for their own safety? I mean, their own lives? Don't they value their own neck? I mean, I'm sure they have husbands or wives, boyfriends, girlfriends, partners, children for their family's sake? Or are they that guilt-ridden and so full of self-loathing that they're even willing to put their own lives on the line and that of their families to appease the illegal aliens? Like, are they that far gone? Seriously? And then number 2, I got to ask you, do you think the moniker now that Boston has the worst drivers, the most accident collision-prone drivers in the entire country, is that your experience? Do you agree with that? Or do you think Boston is getting a bad rap? Personally, when I saw it, I wasn't surprised. I mean, if you pressed me, without seeing the report, obviously, I would say top 5. I probably wouldn't say number 1. I don't know why. I would say probably New York or L.A. I'd go with either New York or L.A., and I could see Boston maybe, in 3rd. Something like that. But when I saw number 1, I said, really? So they're even worse than I thought they were. But anyway, I wasn't surprised. Were you? Bruce in Woburn. Thanks for holding, Bruce, and welcome. Oh, boy, that moonbat howl is very worthy for this topic, Bruce. Bruce, what do you make of the whole thing, my friend?
Well, let me tell you something, Jeff. I'm gonna rant a little bit here, so be patient. Don't shut me off. Carry me out to the next giddy up. When I got my license in 1977,
Bruce, because you're going to go on a nice rant, okay, I want to go right back to Bruce in Woburn, but let me just give Bruce even a little bit more ammunition for his rant, because we've been talking about, the poor state trooper who's now dead, obviously, Michael Pajera Jr., killed by a Haitian illegal alien truck driver who got his CDL license, his commercial driver's license, from Massachusetts under Healy's sanctuary state policies. Well, listen now to this one. Again, the media won't touch that scandal. They won't touch this one. Listen now to this. So the latest innocent American who got killed by an illegal alien because the Democrats want to keep importing more Democratic voters is 21-year-old UMass Lowell soccer star Toby Forsyth. So here's a 21-year-old soccer star playing at University of Massachusetts in Lowell, Toby Forsyth. Nothing from the Democrats in Massachusetts. Nothing. Nothing from the legislature, nothing from the governor, barely anything, a peep from the media. And this time the truck driver was from Uzbekistan. He's an Uzbek. And apparently couldn't speak a word of English. Couldn't read English, can't speak English, didn't know the rules of the road, and now a 21-year-old American citizen with the world in front of him, the world, as they say, in the palm of his hand, a soccer star to boot, is now dead. Like I said, I could go on and on and on. Now, this is not in Massachusetts. Okay, it's not. It's a different state. It was down in North Carolina. But an illegal alien, deported multiple times, allowed back in under Biden, was given a driver's license, was driving drunk, blew through a stop sign, and killed a 6-year-old girl. An American 6-year-old girl. Apparently, he hit her so hard that poor girl never stood a chance. He blew that stop sign like it wasn't even there, flying. I could do this the whole show. And so, how many bodies have to continue to pile up? How many Americans have to continue to die before we finally say enough is enough? No driver's licenses to illegal aliens, no CDLs to illegals, and deport every single one of them out. And, the poll question I think today is spot on. Should federal funding be revoked from states who give CDLs to illegal aliens? Absolutely. At a bare minimum, federal funding should be revoked. In other words, it's time to take the gloves off. Bruce in Woburn, the floor is yours. Go, my friend.
All right, Jeff. In 1977, on my 19th birthday, I got my CDL. Tractor trailer, 45-foot trailer. At that time was the 48, 45. And where did I get it? In Waltham. And who was there? A registry cop with his big nickel-plated 357. They were the king dogs. They were the top dogs. And I'll tell you something. If that was today, nobody that they have their licenses today with these automatic transmissions. I'm a gear jammer, Jeff. I got over 6 million miles under my belt, 48 states. I was a bed bugger, a mover. I worked my butt off. These guys, they're driving these automatic trucks like they're a station wagon, and they're 53 feet long. It's crazy, Jeff. When they combined the state police with the registry cops, back then they were the bad Larrys. When you went to get your license, that's who was sitting.
Oh, Larry. Hold on, Mike. Bruce, you can't spell it out. You just can't say it. Just say the crap. They scared the crap out of you. Larry, Bruce, whether you spell it out or you say it, you still can't do it. So please, no swearing. Go ahead, Bruce. You're on a roll.
But what I'm trying to say is the state police are our best protection. The local police. Now, back in the day, the local police only had 38. The registry cops and the state police had 357s. And now they all have high capacity and they're able to protect themselves from the criminals. But we got these people, just the people that don't even have CDLs, Jeff, that have licenses, that are running red lights, running stop signs. No, they can't even read stop signs. They can't read nothing, Jeff. Not one guy would have their license.
Bruce, as a commercial truck driver who's been doing this for, what is it now, over 40 plus years, 6 million miles under your belt, I got to say, buddy, that is extremely impressive. Have you noticed the roads, have they gotten more dangerous, more unsafe? I don't know, say in the last 10 years, 5-10 years. Has it gotten worse or better, in your opinion?
They don't have these guys going for skid school when icy conditions and slippery conditions. We went to skid school where they painted the tires on the trailer so you could see that they weren't spinning, they were locked up, and you couldn't recover from it unless you accelerated out of it. There's no education with these people anymore.
Wow. Bruce, as always, thank you very much for that call, my friend. Yeah, well, that's what I mean. That's Secretary Sean Duffy's been making that point. He says we're lowering standards to appease or appeal to these illegals, to try to accommodate them, to ram the CDLs into their hands and get them through these schools, or have these big trucking companies, they call them CDL mills. 24 hours, they just rush them through a crash program. And it's exactly what Bruce was just saying. Very little education, low standards, and just put them out there on the road. Well, that's our lives you're playing with, man. I mean, come on. What's the matter with you people? And look, can I just say this? Why can't we pay American citizens anymore a decent wage? Because what's really driving a lot of this is they want to get these illegals because they can pay them a lot less than an American. Like, okay, I'll pay more, but just give me a professional American driver who's well-trained, who knows how to drive, because it's really difficult to drive these tractor trailers, and pay him a decent wage, or her a decent wage. Like, our whole country, everything is like cheap labor. We're addicted to cheap labor. It doesn't matter. It's got to be cheap. And that's why they keep flooding our country with illegals. It doesn't matter. Fruit, you got to pick fruit or vegetables, cheap. Work at a chicken plant or whatever, it's got to be cheap. You want to drive a truck, it's got to be cheap. It's all cheap labor. Cheap, 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 cheap. And the quality for everything is going down. 617-266-6868. Again, we're selling our soul, our collective national soul, for the almighty buck. It's not worth it. Fred in Saugus. Thanks for holding, Fred, and welcome.
Hi, Jeff.
Hi, Fred.
Great job. Yeah, this is a real complex subject because the problems are immense and solutions are probably very difficult. So I'll just give you a little bit of my background first. I've been driving for 55 years. I'm 72. I'm retired.
Wow.
I've been in and out of the construction business. I had a CDL since I was 21. I gave it up 2 years ago. I was out on the road. Now, I was just a construction driver here locally, Class B, which isn't the tractor trailers, and maybe I had a Class A so I could haul a trailer, so I could haul like a Bobcat, a roller, something like that, but it was about 27 feet long. Now, these rigs, just what he says, they're like 70 feet, maybe 70 feet, because you get your sleeper in there. And I went over the road from 2012 to 2018, just thinking that my mother passed away in 2012. I said, I heard about going over the road and take my golf clubs. So I did it. I went to the school, and I'll tell you, Jeff, I don't know. You ask me anything you want. I mean, to me, the school should tell the students exactly the percentages of what's going on with how many people really make it through.
Well, that's the other thing, Fred. You're not the only one that's told me this. Many, commercial drivers, truck drivers, have told me, Jeff, they're lowering standards at the schools even. And, we talk about in the education system, just for a second, Fred, how they're, the dumbing down of America, how, they pass anybody. Doesn't matter, elementary, high school. You could, you're failing math, you're failing, writing, whatever. I mean, they're graduating high school students who are basically functionally illiterate. They're graduating high school students with maybe 5th, 6th grade math skills. 5th, 6th grade, high school, graduating them. So they keep lowering standards and lowering standards and lowering standards. And these truck drivers have been telling me, and I trust them because why would they lie? And they're all saying the same thing, by the way. They go, Jeff, it's not what it used to be. They cut corners. They're lowering standards. It's not what it used to be. That's why, look, Fred, I got to ask you, 55 years, that's no joke. You've been around the block and then some. In the last, say, 5 or 10 years, on the roads, has it gotten safer or more unsafe? Because the perception that I have is that it's gotten a hell of a lot more unsafe. And I think it's directly correlated to the massive influx of illegals. I think there's no question in my mind. But that I'm not saying that, American citizens or legal residents, look, Boston drivers are crazy drivers. Look, I get cut off all the time. I see people, what's speed limit? There is no speed limit. Whatever. In some areas it's 55, others it's 65. It doesn't matter. 80, 85, 90. You should see how they're driving. It's like the Indy 500. And by the way, this state, I don't know if in driving school they don't teach the signal light. Nobody uses a freaking signal light. Have you noticed that? They don't even try. So it's just like they're just merging. They're just merging and nobody uses a signal light. And then I'm the only idiot on the road. You can tell it's me, Fred. If you're ever on the road, you go, oh, hey, that's Kuhner. He's got his signal light. He's going to turn left. He's the only guy. Let's wave. I turn my signal light right or left. I swear to you, people are looking at me like I have 6 heads. They're like, who uses a signal light? What the hell is this? And by the way, they still ignore it. They just cut you off, go in front of you, go beside you, whatever. But Fred, I've got to ask you, is it me or am I wrong? Do you believe, it's your perception as well, that the roads are just much more unsafe over the last 10 years or so? What say you?
Definitely. Yeah. And I would say that 50% of the drivers out there are basically not qualified to be driving those rigs. That's my honest opinion.
50.
Now, I like I said, I was out over the road only for 6 years, but boy, did I get discouraged. So I don't know, I got so many stories I could tell, but I do know this, that school, the careers, everything should be told. What it is all government subsidized. You know that, to keep out. That's why I said it's so complex, because groceries would be through the roof. And so the government gets in there. They get a student that rides out for 10 weeks with somebody. Basically, it's like having a little puppet on the side to drive for 10 weeks for the government. And they're supposed to be learning the trade, but just, I don't care if you're a 1,000,000 mile or a 5 million mile. The conditions are always changing. And you go through the school, and one of the big trucking outfits even has Charlie was his name, but he was over 1 million miles. Oh, God, he was probably 5 million miles. And he's got to live with the fact that he went to work one morning and slid into a car and paralyzed the girl. Just was just 5 or 6 years old. And this guy has been driving for between 2 million and 5. He's won every award going.
No, I know, Fred. It's a very dangerous job. It's a very difficult job. It's a hard job. And it's a massive truck. It's basically a weapon. I mean, I know it's there for transportation, obviously, but it could become very easy. Like you said, a slick road, ice or black ice or whatever, and you can kill or maim or cripple someone. And, I'm sure that he's an incredible driver, and it was bad conditions, and boom. And I bet it's going to haunt him for the rest of his life. I mean, I'm sure his conscience is eating away at him, and I got to say this, Fred. When I'm driving back, occasionally I will stop off at, say, a Jersey Mike's for a sandwich. Okay, I mean, not always, but once in a while I'll stop off for a sandwich. And in the area near where I live, and it's a bit of a side road to get there. And I don't know why, but a lot of truckers go through that area. I can't believe with the size of that rig, how they can make that turn and thread the needle the way they do every single time. It's amazing. I'm like, if I was driving that, I'd hit this car, that car. I mean, to drive something that big and that unwieldy, and the way they do it, so effortlessly, so precisely, it takes tremendous, tremendous skill. Or when they back up with that thing, and they're turning it and they're backing it up, and I'm like, on the first try they got it. I could be there literally all day. No, Kuhner, do it again. No, where are you going? Hey, what? No, hey, you just hit a car. I mean, if I had to do it, or most people, you couldn't do it. So it's such a difficult, high-risk, dangerous job. To me, the standards have to be higher, not lower. And my God, the last thing you do, Fred, is you put a freaking illegal behind that wheel. It's like putting an illegal behind a plane. Like, you're crazy. Like, that's when I'm reading these stories and I'm looking around like, am I insane? Am I losing my mind? You're going to put an illegal alien behind an 18-wheeler truck who doesn't know the instructions, can't read a manual, doesn't know English, doesn't know the basic rules? It's like putting an illegal behind a plane. Like, what are you, nuts? Of course people are going to get killed. It's inevitable. 617-266-6868. Andy in Norton. Thanks for holding, Andy, and welcome.
Good morning, Jeff. Jeff, I've had a CDL license I had one for 30 years. I can't believe what's going on in this country right now. Anybody who passes somebody, and these inspectors who give these licenses out, they are an accomplice to murder. If people are killed, I just can't believe what's happening right now. That poor kid from UMass or whatever, the soccer player there. That's a young kid that his whole life ahead of him, and some jerk gave him a license to that illegally, and that is just that gets me upset because I had one for 30 years, Jeff, and I tell you what, that was one of the hardest licenses that I ever got. And to give these things out like candy is a travesty,
Well, Andy, I don't want to, get too personal, but Andy, I bet you had to jump through hoop after hoop after hoop to get that CDL. I bet they had you go through test after test. I bet you had inspection after inspection. I bet you were worrying constantly during your 30 years. Am I complying with all the regulations, all the rules? Because God forbid they'll fine me or they'll take away my license. Am I wrong, Andy?
No, because I got mine in the mid '80s, and back then it was you did it with somebody at work would train you, and you still had to take the permit test, and then you would go up and you would take the test, and you hopefully pass. And I got mine, and it was known that, quite often it was 50-50 whether or not you're going to pass, because these inspectors were very, very tough. They were very tough. Then these schools came on board. We had to go to these schools to do it, and it almost became, if you didn't go to a
Yeah, it's almost if you didn't go to a school, you wouldn't get your license. Andy, you are so right. Melissa in Woburn. Thanks for holding, Melissa, and welcome.
Kuhner Country.
Hi,
Jeff,
Melissa.
I have had my CDLB license since 2005, so 21 years. I still recall how intense that training was. Many weeks, many hours of not only learning how to drive the bus, but also the pre-trip, knowing the components of the bus. And that's part of also getting your license, is driving with the state trooper, which can be intimidating, and doing the whole pre-trip, which is stressful. We also had monthly meetings, which was a Smith system. I'm sure all the drivers are aware of that, which educates you on the following distance of your vehicle, rock and rolling because of your mirrors, the cross view of your mirrors, leaving yourself an out, and leaving yourself proper distance to brake. I also pay, even though I don't drive. I moved on to the medical field 7 years ago. So I renew my driver's license, my CDL, every time. So twice now since I left. I renew it because I don't want to have to take that again because it was so intense. I consider myself a very good driver. I drove for 15 years on school children, charters, and it's a big responsibility. And it's a lot of fun to drive a vehicle that large. You're fully aware of, the size of your vehicle and the importance of, driving safely. I also keep my DOT current, which is out of pocket. That's a requirement up in New Hampshire. I'm not sure if it is for Mass, but
sorry, what's a POT?
A DOT, your physical card to drive. That's the CDLB. You have to have a Department of Transportation physical.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Yeah, every
got
couple
you.
of years. So just before I left up in New Hampshire, that was a requirement that even though you're not driving anymore, to maintain your CDLB license, you have to pay for yourself to get that physical every couple of years.
I understand.
And I do so. I go every 2 years and get my physical. I don't know how these licenses are getting so willy-nilly passed around. It's very, very sad what's happening, and I hope it stopped quickly to save the lives, because I don't feel safe on the road with the truckers that aren't supposed to be having these licenses.
Melissa, if I'm getting too personal, please tell me. I won't be offended, I promise. Did you, when you were driving a bus, say, was it mostly in Mass or was it in New Hampshire?
I was a school bus driver in New Hampshire. However, I would be in Boston many times. And then I would go from Boston all the way, drop the kids off from one field trip, and go to Keene with the football team. So I was on the road all day and night. I could see accidents about to happen. I'm sure many truck drivers notice that too. When you're on the road that many hours every single day for 15, 20, 30 years, you can see accidents about to happen right in front of you.
Melissa, did you ever get the sense that Boston drivers, say, compared to New Hampshire drivers, I'm just using that as because, it's for you an apples to apples comparison because you drove both. You drove in New Hampshire and sometimes you would drive into Boston. Were Boston drivers particularly bad or, sloppy or irresponsible or aggressive? Did you feel more unsafe around Boston drivers than, say, up in New Hampshire?
Feel safe in the bus because you have such a presence in that large vehicle. You have such a great view, and if you're a good driver, you're looking all around you in your mirrors, the following distance and all that. In fact, I feel more unsafe now in my car. I prefer to be in a vehicle, but I see overall just the driving. I'm basically moving out of the way for people coming at me, as we talked about a few weeks ago.
Yes.
Crossing the yellow line.
Yes.
It happens daily to me. The most stressful part of my day is coming and going to work in my own vehicle.
I'm telling you, you read my mind. When I drive into work, and we were in Medford, just outside of Boston, and I drive, I'm driving early. I'm driving at 4 a.m. Melissa, it's the Indy 500 out there. You got to see. there got people driving right lane, middle lane, left lane, back to the middle lane, back to the right lane, emergency lane, 80, 90 miles an hour. They're flying, no signal lights, no nothing. I'm telling you, like, I'm stressed. I come in at 5 and I'm like, like my heart's like, I'm like, I feel like I'm in a war zone. And then you're right. I see them flying right behind me. And I'm like, maybe I should just move over because this guy's going to hit me right in the back. Like, all I do is practice defensive driving. And I just thank you, dear Jesus. When I arrive home and I arrive at the office, thank you, dear Jesus, I made it. I made it. Melissa, very quickly, do you think driver's licenses should be issued to illegals?
Issued to illegals, nothing. Not housing, not medical. I mean, that's a whole other subject, but there's people that can't even go to the doctors for their own co-pays, and then there's people that are here illegally getting health care. It's awful.
I agree with you. It's disgusting. It really is. We're being discriminated against by our own government. It's unbelievable. Melissa, stay safe on the road, and thank you for that call. Joining us now, as she always does at this time, she is the co-founder, CEO, and president of Kelly Financial Services. And yes, that is her wonderful name, Kelly. Kelly, how are you?
Good morning, Jeff. I am good. When you think about retirement, what's the first thing that comes to mind? For most people, is money. But one of the biggest changes retirement brings has nothing to do with finances. It has to do with friendships and relationships. When you leave the workplace, you often leave behind the daily conversations, routines, and connections that have been part of your life for years. That's why staying socially connected is one of the keys to a happy retirement. Our investor guide, 6 Secrets to a Happy Retirement, explores the importance of companionship, purpose, lifelong learning, good health, and staying engaged in life. If you'd like a complimentary copy, give us a call or email Kelly at kellyfinancial.org. Jeff, I'll continue this conversation tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. on Safe Money Strategies Radio. Do tune in or visit our website for the Radio Rewind. Jeff, have a wonderful weekend. My best to Grace and the kiddos.
Thank you, Kelly. All the best to you and everyone at Kelly Financial. To get a free copy of that guide, and I urge all of you, if you can, do get it. Call now, 888-800-1881, 888-800-1881, or you can actually email Kelly herself personally, Kelly at kellyfinancial.org. That's Kelly at kellyfinancial.org. 9:33 now on the great WRKO. Jeff Kuhner, Boston's Bulldozer, 617-266-6868. Lines are jammed. Okay. Oh, Mike Minogue has called in. Okay. All right. We've got Mike Minogue on the line. He is the Republican candidate for governor. He's in a primary right now, but according to the polls, he is way ahead. So we've got Mike Minogue, Republican nominee. Well, not nominee yet, but Republican candidate for governor. Mike, thank you so much for calling into the Kuhner Report. I've got to ask you, Mike, as someone who wants to be the next governor of Massachusetts, this horrifying story, Pennsylvania state trooper killed by an illegal alien from Haiti who was issued a CDL by Massachusetts. In your view, should CDLs be given to illegal aliens? And if you become the governor of Massachusetts, will you start to prohibit that and outlaw it?
Jeff, thanks for having me on the show. I do not think illegal immigrants should get CDL licenses from Massachusetts, but let me take a step backwards. So I'm Mike Minogue, and I am the endorsed candidate for the MAGOP. I'm also the endorsed candidate for the Republican National Committee members. because I received 70% of the vote at the convention on the first ballot and kept two opponents at 15% or less. And one of the reasons I think I'm doing well and have the grassroots and all the momentum is because of my message of AAOK. And the K stands for Keep Communities Safe. When we are rolling out the red carpet and starting with saying that we're a sanctuary city or a sanctuary state, we are attracting more illegal immigrants. And 12 million illegal immigrants crossed the southern border during the Biden administration. So we're attracting those that are gang members and violent because of the sanctuary status. Then we issue free right to shelter, which is only for citizens. And we've spent already over $4 billion on illegal immigrants. We need to have common sense and compassion, but we need to put our citizens first, especially when our young people don't think they can live here or buy a place, and our seniors don't think we can stay. So let's get back to common sense and have accountability, affordability, opportunity, and keep communities safe. And that's what I'm going to do as governor.
Mike, why has Maura Healey opened the floodgates to all of these illegal aliens who have poured into Massachusetts, not just into Boston, but many other cities across the Commonwealth? Why is she so obsessed with flooding our state with illegals? What's your theory on that?
You know, Jeff, you'd have to ask her, but it really doesn't make any sense. So the role of the governor is to do what's in the best interest of our citizens, entrepreneurs, and businesses. And it appears Maura Healey is just putting party politics before anything else. And is an easy example. I mean, we will, as taxpayers, have to pay back the $4 billion that we've already spent on illegal immigrants. And what's frustrating is there's no end in sight. We also see that on SNAP benefits, which we get $3 billion from the federal government for this, for our most vulnerable, but they're jeopardizing that funding. And any error rate above 6%, and we're at 12.5% now, it was 4.5% with the Baker administration. So anything above 6%, and again, we're at 12, the state has to pay that difference. So the reason we have all these flaws is because Maura Healey will not give the identifications of the SNAP recipients. And she said it's because she believes they may not protect it and share with ICE. Well, that's an acknowledgement that we have illegal immigrants getting SNAP benefits or food stamps. That's not in the federal law. We should not be doing that. And again, party politics is how she rules things. I want my governor, and the kind of governor that I'm going to be, is I'll always prioritize my citizens before party politics. And that's why being the outsider is another reason I'm going to win, because people are tired of party politics. And the last thing they want is another politician, or worse, the same one.
Mike, where can people go to find out more information about your campaign and where you stand on the issues?
Jeff, the listeners can go to minogueforma.com, www.minogueforma.com. On Instagram and TikTok and on Twitter, it's Mike Minogue, MA. Again, Mike Minogue, MA. And on Facebook, it's Mike Minogue. So we've got a very active social media plan. We're seeing around 2.5 million views every 30 days on Instagram alone. And a lot of people don't read the conventional news, so we're doing everything we can to get to both the seniors by advertising on TV right now and making sure that we've got that name recognition, but we're also talking to young people because this is their election. And I remind everyone, we are going to win because 72% of the voters wanted the audit done. That's 2.3 million people. We need 1.5 million to win. So if you're someone that voted for the audit or think our government is overspending, overtaxing, and overregulating, what have you got to lose? Let's bring in someone like me to be a new kind of governor that has a skill set, that's a soldier, a business person, and a leader in the community so we can fix problems, not campaign on them.
MinogueForMA.com. MinogueForMA.com. Minogue is spelled Minogue. Mike Minogue, Republican candidate for governor. Mike, thank you so much for calling into the Kuhner Report, and best of luck to you, sir.
Thanks, Jeff. God bless.
God bless you. 617-266-6868. So, Mike Minot called in. And here you have Mike saying he wins. He becomes governor. You heard him. No CDLs for illegals. He's going to revoke sanctuary status. He's not going to give welfare benefits to illegal aliens, among many other things. If he gets his message out, I'm telling you, it's going to be a very potent message in November. 617-266-6868. Mike in Saugus. Thanks for holding, Mike, and welcome.
Jeff, thank you for taking my telephone call.
My pleasure.
In 2002, I changed professions. I lived in California. I went to truck driving school in California. I did not pay a dime to go to truck driving school. Most truck drivers, or most people that want to become truck drivers, they have to pay at least $4,000 to $5,000 to go to truck driving school to get their CDL. I did not pay anything. I thank God, and I thank the state of California. But somebody's getting kickbacks, and I don't know what has happened in the profession, but that just seems to be giving CDLs out like candy. And it's going to affect a lot of people that are driving, because when you drive that rig, you got to be very, very cautious of what you're doing, where you're going, everything. You have to have eyes everywhere. So the corruption is in Massachusetts with these rotten politicians, and they're allowing them to get their CDLs without really knowing how to speak English or anything.
Mike, that's why I think it's time for a change. I think the people of Massachusetts are getting sick and tired of Healy, of the radical Democrats. The text line it's on fire. I mean, it's starting to burn up. I mean, it's going nuclear with the reactions from the audience. Just to give you a taste, many of you are saying, Jeff, Boston drivers, the worst drivers in America. Tell me something I don't already know. I can't tell you how many texts we got from many of you saying, yeah, and what's the news there, Jeff? I don't know. I mean, I didn't think we were number one in terms of the worst. I don't know. I thought New York City, LA. I don't know. But no, we're number one. Others are, commenting, Jeff, everybody seems to be giving you the finger when you're on the road. I mean, either you're crazy or the world's crazy. And I don't think the world's crazy, Jeff. So apparently many of you think I'm the one to blame for constantly being given the finger. 617-266-6868. Anthony in New Hampshire. Thanks for holding, Anthony, and welcome.
Well, Jeff, thank you for having me as always, and a shout out to Annie. I'm in the illegal sanctuary city of Lawrence now working. By
the way, they fly on the 4th of July. They fly, I'm not kidding, they fly the Dominican flag. Not the American flag, but the Dominican flag in Lawrence. So anyway, just to let you know, Anthony, go ahead, my friend.
Yeah, Jeff, that believe it or not, that's only partially true. There is a ton of American flags flying in this town right now, and on the Commons, there's about 75 to 100 of them. Good. But the reason why I called is I've never did the CDL thing, but I've been driving pretty much 30 plus years in Boston, in the surrounding areas. I drove cabs for 6 years in Boston. Boston's nothing compared to since they've given these illegal immigrants driver's licenses. Let me tell you something. In Lawrence, it is the worst. If they change the traffic patterns, like they've taken down stop signs at this intersection because it was basically backing traffic up to Kingdom Come. So they took down the stop signs. That was 2 months ago, Jeff. Do you know the illegals are still stopping? They're still stopping. right-hand turn, left-hand turn lanes with signs and arrows on the grounds. That's just a suggestion. You could be driving straight, and the person in the left lane turn only will drive right into you and they'll look at you like you're the biggest jerk on the planet. It's absolutely disgusting what they've done to the driving in this state by giving illegal immigrants access to these licenses. At first, I thought that it would affect my job, maybe, because I'm in a Spanish-speaking community. I've picked up enough Spanish now that I'm like the illegals, where I can say yes, no, and get by to do the job. Well, let me tell you something. It's not them getting the driver's licenses that's going to steal my job. It's them going to kill me to steal my job by crashing into me, blowing through a red light. Red lights in this city of Lawrence means one more, two more, maybe even three. It's absolutely ridiculous. They have no cares in the world because they have no financial stake in the community. None of them have any stake in the community. And you said that Americans are looking for the cheapest way and they're hiring the cheapest drivers. That's what happens to a society when the workers are taxed to death. When businesses are taxed to death, you can't cut corners on Uncle Sam. He'll come take your business. You have to cut corners everywhere else that you can possibly think of. And if it means I have to hire somebody that's a little cheaper than the professional guy that will cost me a lot more, that's the only avenue left that you got.
Anthony, do a lot of these illegals that you interact with in Lawrence or know or deal with, because my sense, I've been told over and over, many of them do not even have insurance. They're literally driving without car insurance. And you are making the point they have no financial stake in the community, and you're 1,000, not 100, you're 1,000% correct. They're on welfare, they're on government benefits. I mean, it's just take. But many of them don't even do the basic, which is, it's a legal requirement. You have to have insurance. Do many of them drive around without any insurance?
Maura Healey said that giving them the driver's licenses would enable them all to legally get insurance. Jeff, there's more tow companies in this town towing off cars for no insurance or attached plates. They'll just steal your plate out of a parking lot and throw it on the car. That and the illegals on the motorcycles that they've stolen out of someone's sheds. They just drive all over the town with no helmets. It's like gang initiation around here with the dirt bikes. They have no cares about the rules. You're wanting people who broke the rules to originally get here, and you assume that they're going to follow the rules now that they've gotten here. You're out of your mind.
Before I let you go, Anthony, Boston, #1, worst drivers in the country. Springfield, Worcester, part of the top 10, most accidents. Are you surprised? Mike, you couldn't